California leaders say that they're working to, in their words, Trump-proof the state. Thanks for being with us tonight at 5. I'm Gulston Dart.
I'm Lisa Gonzalez. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom and Attorney General Rob Bonta today announcing they are making moves to prepare for the next administration. But there's also political opportunity for both of them with Trump in office. KCRA 3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala joins us now to explain. Ashley?
Well, Lisa and Gulston, California led the Trump resistance when he first took office in 2017, suing the administration 120 times over a variety of issues revolving around the environment, immigration, abortion, and more. California's Attorney General Rob Bonta, who is considering a run for governor, says he's ready for that work to begin again. Meanwhile, Governor Gavin Newsom sent out a statement just yesterday saying he will seek to work with the now incoming President Trump, but then this morning announced a special legislative session to essentially protect California from Trump. And now we've learned, even though the election is over, the governor is using this whole effort to campaign in other states.
If Trump attacks your rights, I'll be there.
Standing alone in front of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California Attorney General Rob Bonta promising to protect California from the future Trump administration.
I'm here today to reassure you that in California, progress will prevail.
He cited fear and anxiety over abortion, immigration, LGBTQ rights, and the environment, some already either protected in state law or in the state's constitution. But Bonta gave no specifics on how he's preparing to legally fight, including the possible cost to taxpayers. Bonta, who is considering a run for California governor in 2026, dodged my question about the timing of this. It's no secret that you are considering running for California governor. I mean, at what point do you plan to make that decision?
The timing of this comes right after the election of the President of the United States, in which Mr. Trump has been elected again.
Governor Gavin Newsom Thursday morning called a special legislative session so that lawmakers also prepare and provide Bonta's office with more money for those legal fights. Within hours of that announcement, Democratic voters in other states like Missouri got this text from the same number they had been receiving texts from Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. But this time it was Gavin Newsom inviting them to a Zoom call on California's efforts to prepare for President Donald Trump.
It seems like now he's already thinking about what's the next step for him politically, what new opportunities are now available to him, when what I'd like him to be thinking about is what new opportunities are available to our state.
Voters in some parts of Northern California just re-elected Kevin Kiley to Congress.
If Governor Newsom was really concerned about what's best for California, he would be looking to build those bridges to see where he could work with the new incoming administration. I understand he would have preferred a different administration, but that's not, the way this works in a democracy is that, the voters have their say, and then after it, we should all move on together to do what's best for the people we represent.
Now, on that text message that was sent out to out-of-state voters, we've reached out to Newsom's Campaign for Democracy to learn more. The Missouri voter who sent me that screenshot asked me if Newsom is running for president, so I posed that same question to Newsom's campaign today. I've gotten no response so far.
So what's next? And this also sounds like this could cost a lot of money. What's the price tag on all of this?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, in terms of the timeline, what's next is that lawmakers will kick off the special session on December 2nd, which is actually the same day they're already scheduled to come back to Sacramento for a swearing-in ceremony. In terms of cost, Bonta would not give us a number today. He said those discussions are ongoing. I know there was a certain amount, about 1% of the Attorney General's budget back in 2021 was what was talked about in the previous Trump administration. We don't really know what that number looks like now, but to be seen.
But and as you mentioned, some of these things that they're talking about, there are already laws and voter-approved things that protect Californians against any of these things.
Right, as we mentioned in the story, in the state constitution, in state law, it's just a matter of, we don't really know what specific policies yet the incoming president is going to present. And so it's just up to, I guess it's just up to California to sort of wait and see what that ends up being.
All right, Ashley, thank you.